Alright children, a very good morning. Yesterday we had learned about a new chapter, Diary of a Young Girl, Annie Frank. Alright, so today again we'll continue the same chapter. So what did we learn yesterday? We learned about a girl whose name was Annie Frank, and how did she face the troubles that were happening during her stay wherever she was living. She was a small little girl, and how everything got in her mind, how she became depressed. She had no friends, just one friend she made, that was her diary. In that diary she wrote whatever she felt, whatever was going around, whatever was happening with the people over there. Okay, so this is the complete story about that girl and her diary, in which she wrote everything. She said a very tacky line that paper has much more patience than people. This is a very deep line, children, that people sometimes judge us, but when we write something on paper, we can say whatever we want to, or we can pen down whatever feelings we have. Nobody is going to judge us whether we are wrong, whether we are right. Okay, so let's continue reading. We had also discussed these question answers as well. Let's read further. Since no one would understand a word of my stories to Kitty, Kitty was her diary. She had named her diary as Kitty. If I were to plunge right in, plunge as in put something, plunge, keep it inside, I'd better provide a brief sketch of my life, much I dislike so. Okay, so she said that when we become friends to someone, or when we are close to someone, the very first thing which comes to our mind is telling that person that what we have been through in life. Okay, whatever troubles or good things or bad things, whatever we have faced in our lives, we should tell that person. So same was with Annie. Annie wanted that her diary Kitty, whom she had made a friend, should know each and everything about her. So she started, my father, the most adorable father I've ever seen, didn't marry my mother until he was 36 and she was 25. Okay, so she's told one thing about her family, about her mother and father. My sister Margot was born in Frankfurt in Germany in 1926. I was born on 12th June 1929. I lived in Frankfurt until I was 4 years old. Okay, she told about her mother, her father, and this sister. My father emigrated to Holland in 1933. Holland was a place, immigrated means shifted, moving to that place. My mother, Edith Hollander Frank, went with him to Holland in September, while Margot and I were sent to Aachen to stay with our grandmother. Okay, she told that mother and father, they went to Holland, and these sisters, they had their stay with their grandmother in a place, and I followed in February. Okay, then Margaret also went towards her stay with her parents in Holland, and then she also went along, this Annie, in February. When I plunked down, means a casual down, on the table as a birthday present for Margaret. Okay, now she went on the table and it was might be Margaret's birthday, so she got her a present. I started right away at the Montessori nursery school. I stayed there until I was 6. At which I started in the first form. Now she said that she had her stay. She stayed at that place at Holland, where she studied at the Montessori nursery school. In the 6th form, my teacher was Mrs. Cuprus, the headmistress. At the end of the year, we were both in tears as we said a heartbreaking farewell. Okay. Now again they had to shift to another place. So she said that we had made a good bond, good people were there. So when we shifted to that place, everybody bid us with a crying heart, a heavy heart. In summer of 1941, Grandma fell ill and had an operation. So my birthday passed with a little celebration. Okay, so because problem was going on, grandmother was ill, so her birthday couldn't be celebrated with much enthusiasm and happiness that year. Grandma died in January 1942. No one knows how often I think of her and still love her. Children, these small young kids, they are very much attached with their grandparents. Why? Because grandparents really pamper them, love them so deeply and unconditionally that their bond with these little children, these grandchildren, are really very strong and special. So same way she says that she had been missing her grandmother so much and she really loved her. This birthday celebration in 1942 was intended to make up for the other. Intended means forced or made up. And grandma's candle was lit along with the rest. The four of us are still doing well, and that brings me to the present date of 20 June 1942 and the solemn dedication of my diary. Okay, solemn means the starting. She has begun writing a diary. So first, before writing about that particular day, she has briefed about whatever has happened through her life and how she had behaved, or how were her parents, her mother, her sister, how she loved her grandmother, everything which was going through around her, she told and described in that diary. Dearest Kitty, now the complete diary that she's writing, the whole page of that particular diary. Our entire class is quacking in booths. Quacking as in very nervous. The reason, of course, is the forthcoming meeting in with the teachers decide who will move up to the next form and who will be kept back. Okay, children, now that was the result day. Everybody was very scared. Children, it does happen when we have our report card days. We already feel very much tensionized. We are so nervous. We have that fear that what is going to happen, whether we'll get good grades, bad grades, we'll be promoted, we'll be detained. Okay, lots of questions run in our mind. Half the class is making bets. Gian and I laugh ourselves silly at two boys behind us, Cian and Jakes, who has been stalked their entire holiday saving on their bet. Okay, they had been betting about something, that what is going to happen, who will get how much marks, who will get promoted, who will get detained. All their personal savings they have spent on this bet. From morning to night, it's you are going to pass. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Even G's pleading glances. Pleading means pleasing someone. And my angry outburst can't calm them down. Angry outburst means crying. Angry, frustrated on something. If you ask me, there are so many dummies that about a quarter of the class should be kept back. But the teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth. She said that there are so many students in my class who are dumb, who don't react, okay, who have not studied properly, who don't learn their lessons properly, who sit like dumb students in the class. But still you cannot predict, might be teacher can favor that child and make her pass and promote her. So she says that teachers are most unpredictable. Unpredictable as in you can't predict what that person's decision can be. I am not so worried about my girlfriends and myself. We'll make it. Okay, she was very confident about her studies that yeah, I'll be able to make it. I have done such good. The only subject I'm not sure is maths. Anyway, all we can do is wait. Until then, we keep telling each other not to lose heart. Okay? This happens, children, when something is going to happen. We say, no, it will be all right. Keeping our heart, not losing our hopes. Okay? Keeping our hopes high. I get along pretty well with all my teachers. Now she was a good behaved, well behaved, good student. So a good student, children, always has a heart in her teachers, and teachers always love that child, a disciplined and a good child. So she said that she was pretty well, it was going with the teachers. She got along well. She had good terms with teachers basically. There are 9 of them, 7 men and 2 women. I told you earlier also, it's not woman. If more than one, it's women. Mr. Keesing, the old fogey who teaches maths, was annoyed with me for ages. Foggy means very old fashioned, very old. Okay, now she was not good in maths, so that teacher basically disliked her because I talked so much. Now, children, it happens that when we are not interested in a particular chapter, in a particular subject, we don't like that teacher also doesn't like us. Why? Because we don't pay that kind of attention in that period, in that class. An essay on the subject, a chatterbox. What is a chatterbox is someone who is speaking the whole day, chattering, chit chatting. What can you write about that? I had worry about that later, I decided. I jotted means started writing the title in my notebook. Okay, now she started writing that essay on that chatterbox. She wrote the word chatterbox because that was the topic. Tucked it in my bag and tried to keep quiet. That evening, after I had finished the rest of my homework, the note about essay caught my eye. I began thinking about the subject while chewing the tip of my fountain pen. Now she was interested, might be she thought deeply into that subject. Anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words. Ramble means anyone can talk, can write. And children, what happens, sometimes it happens when we have to complete a whole page, na, we put gaps in our words so that our page is completed. Okay, it happens, we have done this in our schools. But the trick was to come up with convincing arguments to prove the necessity of talking. Okay, now she wanted that her piece of argument should be strong enough that she could give a valid reason for talking. Okay, a statement she should give in such a manner that people are going to believe her. I thought and suddenly I had an idea. I wrote 3 pages. Mr. Keesing had assigned me and was satisfied. Okay, now she kept writing, she kept her point of view, she kept writing, jotting down. I argued that talking is a student's trait. Trait means behavior, student's attribute, student's quality, and that I would do my best to keep it under control. Now she said that yeah, students do talk, students have that in, but if it is not going on well, I'll do everything to keep my tongue under control. I'll be quiet. But that I would never be able to cure myself of the habit since my mother talked as much as I did. She said that this talking thing she has got inside hereditary because her mother also does that. So taking out this habit from her entirely is a very difficult task. And that there's not much you can do about inherited traits. Yeah, the qualities which she has got inherited from her mother. Mr. Keesing had a good laugh at an arguments, but when I proceeded to talk my way through the next lesson, he assigned me a second essay. Okay, so she said that till the time she was convincing the teacher that she is right on her part, the teacher gave her a second essay. This time it was supposed to be an incorrigible chatterbox. Incorrigible means very stern, heat, something that cannot be corrected. I handed it in, and Mr. Keesing had nothing to complain about for 2 whole lessons. Annie Frank, as a punishment for talking in class, write an essay. Quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox. Okay, in order to give her a punishment, he said that okay, write one more essay on this chatterbox thing only. The class roared. Oh, kids do that, na? They make funny faces. They laugh at you when teacher scolds you. I had to laugh too, though I had nearly exhausted. She was frustrated. My ingenuity, originality. Genuine means to become original, to give your actual thoughts on the topic of chatterboxes. It was time to come up with something else and something original. My friend Sane, who's good at poetry, offered to help me to write the essay from the beginning to end in verse. and I jumped for joy. Okay, now one of her friend, she wanted to help her, and she said that now you can write an essay in a different way. You can write it as a poetry. You can give it as a rhyming word. Mr. Keesing was trying to play a joke on me with this ridiculous subject, but I had make sure the joke was on him. Now she knew that the teacher was trying to mock her, to make fun of her, and this thing she did not want it to be. She said that, all right, he wants to make fun of me, but what I am going to do with my writing, with my words, I'll make him laugh at himself only. I'll make a joke on him. I'll backfire that joke on that teacher only. I finished my poem and it was beautiful. It was about a mother duck, a father swan with 3 baby ducklings who were bitten to death by the father because they quacked too much. Okay, now what was in that poem which she had written? It was about duck, father duck and mother duck. And what did father duck do? Father duck killed his babies. Why? Because they were quacking so much. Quack is a sound that duck makes. Like dog says bow bow, cat says meow, same way duck says quack quack. Luckily, Mr. Keesing took the joke the right way. He read the poem to the class and adding his own comments, and to several other classes. Since then, I've been allowed to talk and haven't assigned any extra homework. On the contrary means opposite, Mr. Keesing always making joke these days. Yours, Annie, from the Diary of a Girl. Okay, so children, this was a funny incident which has been quoted. She has quoted incidents about her classroom, how she took the joke, how she was confident within herself, how she wrote the verses, how she proved that talking is a good thing. All right. Now I'll give you the question answers. Do let me know. Why was Mr. Keesing annoyed with Annie? Easily you can write. How did Annie justify it? Okay, because she said that she got inherited from her mother. Do you think Mr. Keesing was a strict teacher? This you people can give your own views and give valid reasons for it. Alright, I want your original answers for that. What made Mr. Keesing allow Annie to talk in class? Because she was impressed with that poem. That idea which she wanted to tell her, that was she could inbuilt in the teacher. All right, so it was a good story, children. Do read it twice, thrice, and do tell me if you have any problems.